The bold and the beautiful. Liam's tragic end shatters everything. Grace was right. She always was. Even when no one wanted to believe her, even when her warnings fell on deaf ears, even when her insight was dismissed as paranoia, Grace never spoke without reason. The truth she tried to tell was brutal, and no one wanted to hear it. But now, it's too late to ignore it. Liam is gone. It started quietly, almost invisibly. A small tumor lodged deep in Liam Spencer's brain. At first, it was so insignificant the doctors couldn't even classify it. A shadow. A maybe. Nothing to worry about, they said. But what they didn't know was that the tumor was growing slowly, maliciously twisting reality, triggering pain, silently rewriting Liam's fate. He began having headaches, dizziness, mood swings. He was irritable, distracted, unfocused. People thought it was stress after all. His life was always under a microscope. But this wasn't about stress. It was something far more sinister. And no one, not even Liam, realized just how close to the edge he was. Meanwhile, Bill Spencer, his father, had grown increasingly distracted himself by Luna. He was fixated, fascinated, perhaps even infatuated. Luna became the center of his attention, and in doing so, Bill turned a blind eye to his own son's growing distress. He didn't ask questions. He didn't see the signs. He wasn't there. Then came the day everything changed. Liam collapsed. Alone. Inside his home. He was in his bedroom, pacing restlessly, trying to shake the blinding pain behind his eyes when his body gave out. He fell hard, hitting the cold floor. And no one knew. He lay there, unconscious, dying in silence while the world outside continued spinning. Hours passed. It wasn't until Steffi Forrester, concerned after days of strange messages and unreturned calls, decided to come find him. The moment she opened the door and stepped inside, her heart dropped. There he was, sprawled out, motionless, pale, his lips tinged blue. Her scream echoed through the house. Paramedics were called. The hospital was chaos. Machines beeped, nurses rushed, and Steffi stood frozen, her eyes locked on Liam's lifeless face as he was wheeled away. She demanded answers. She begged doctors to save him. But what they told her was devastating. The tumor had grown significantly. But that wasn't the worst part. The fall, the collapse that left him alone on the floor for hours, had caused severe brain trauma. Bleeding. Swelling. A storm inside his head that couldn't be reversed. He needed immediate surgery. Steffi sat in the hospital hallway, clutching her phone, unable to breathe. She tried to call Hope. She tried to call Bill. Her hands shook. Her eyes burned. The doctors warned her. The surgery was risky. The odds of survival were minimal. But without it, he wouldn't last the night. The surgery began. 12 hours. 12 agonizing hours where time stopped. The hospital lights never dimmed. The waiting room filled with silence and the echoes of prayers. Hope arrived, barely holding herself together. Rich came. Brooke. Even Thomas. One by one, people gathered. The ones who still loved Liam. The ones who had fought him, lost him, believed in him. They waited. And Bill finally arrived. He walked into that hospital and saw Steffi's shattered face. He asked what happened. She told him everything. From the collapse to the tumor to the missed signs. Bill stood frozen. The weight of his own neglect hit him like a sledgehammer. His son had been suffering, dying, and he hadn't been there. He had been too wrapped up in his obsession with Luna to see the man Liam was becoming and the pain he was silently enduring. The operating room doors opened. The doctor stepped out. His face said it all. He didn't need to speak, but he did. Quietly, respectfully. Liam was gone. The damage to his brain was too severe. The tumor was too embedded. The fall had triggered a cascade of swelling that no one could stop. Despite everything, despite the skill of the surgeons, despite the desperate prayers, despite the hours of effort, Liam Spencer died on the table. Steffi broke. She collapsed into the arms of the nearest nurse, screaming, sobbing, shaking. Hope stood frozen, unable to comprehend the words. Her world, the world where Liam was always somewhere nearby, always fighting for love, always wrestling with right and wrong, was shattered. Bill stood alone. He walked into the hospital room, now cold and sterile. Liam lay on the bed, his face still, too still. There was no more pain. No more confusion. No more second chances. Bill touched his son's hand, still warm but fading, and something inside him broke. The guilt roared through him like wildfire. He should have seen it. He should have cared. He should have been there. He whispered one word, sorry, but it was far too late. Grace was right. She saw it all coming. She tried to warn them. The headaches, the behavior changes, the detachment, the confusion. She knew something was wrong, but no one believed her. Not in time. Now a hole has been carved into the center of the bold and the beautiful. Liam's death isn't just a character exit. It's a seismic shift. It's the collapse of a cornerstone, one of the few who had always struggled, always tried, always fell and rose again. And now he won't rise. The aftermath is devastating. Steffi can't stop crying. Hope can't stop remembering. Bill can't stop blaming himself. And the entire canvas of the show begins to twist under the weight of this tragedy. Relationships will fracture. Secrets will spill. Regrets will surface. And the void Liam left behind will echo for seasons to come. His death wasn't just a shock. It was a reckoning. It's a reminder that not everything broken can be fixed. Not every warning can be ignored. And not every second chance comes around. In the end, Liam Spencer, flawed, passionate, loyal, and lost, died alone. In pain. Waiting for someone to notice. They'll never forget him. But they'll always wish they had listened sooner. And Grace? She was never wrong. After Liam's death, Los Angeles was no longer the same. What once felt like a city of glitz and glamour turned cold, chaotic, and unforgiving. The Forresters, Spencers, Logans, all of them were spiraling, each trying to make sense of a world without Liam. But the pain didn't just linger in hearts, it spread like wildfire through the streets, the studios, and every home Liam had touched. His absence wasn't just felt, it was undeniable. And at the center of the fallout stood Bill Spencer, a shell of the man he once was. The ever-dominant, ruthless titan of industry had finally been broken. No amount of money, power, or pride could bring his son back. The news of Liam's death hit the press like a thunderclap, and Bill shut it all down. No interviews, no statements, no public appearances. He vanished into his grief, locking himself inside his estate, refusing to see anyone except the doctors, the lawyers, and his own reflection, which he could barely look at without shame. Luna, once the object of Bill's obsessive fascination, found herself suddenly invisible. And for the first time, that worked in her favor. With Bill's attention buried beneath layers of grief and guilt, Luna was free, completely unsupervised. The eyes that once followed her every move were now vacant. The grip that once kept her close had loosened. No one was watching her. No one was questioning her. She was a ghost in the chaos. And she knew this was her chance. For weeks, Luna had been waiting for a way out. Bill's interest in her had become suffocating, a twisted power play cloaked in affection. He'd offered her protection, gifts, status. But Luna had secrets. Secrets she couldn't let Bill uncover. She hadn't come to Los Angeles just to flirt with the high life. She came running from something. Or someone. Now, with Liam's death swallowing the spotlight and Bill emotionally paralyzed, Luna made her move. She packed lightly. Just the essentials: cash, forged documents, burner phones. She didn't say goodbye. She didn't leave a note. She walked out of Bill's mansion at 3 a.m., slipping past the silent gates like a shadow and disappearing into the night. By the time anyone noticed she was gone, Luna was already halfway across the state, traveling under a false name, blending in with the crowds. A bus station here. A train station there. She changed her look, dyed her hair, burned the SIM cards. She was untraceable exactly as she had planned. Back in LA, her absence sent ripples. The staff assumed she was with friends. The media assumed she was grieving privately. Bill, consumed by his regret, didn't ask. He barely noticed. But others did. Steffi, still grieving Liam, couldn't shake the feeling that Luna's timing wasn't just coincidence. Something didn't add up. Luna had been around too much. Too close to Bill. Too present in everything, and now she was gone. Right when things fell apart. Hope felt it too. While trying to hold herself together for her children, she couldn't ignore the growing list of strange behaviors in the days leading up to Liam's collapse. Why had Luna been in his orbit so often? What had they talked about? Was there something they missed? And then there was Grace. Grace, who had warned them all about Liam's health, now had another suspicion, this time about Luna. She had kept her distance before, not wanting to seem obsessive or paranoid. But now, after Liam's death and Luna's sudden disappearance, she was convinced there was more to the girl than anyone realized. And Grace would find out. She began quietly investigating, pulling surveillance logs, talking to people who remembered Luna's movements, her phone calls, her expressions. What she found was troubling. Inconsistencies in Luna's backstory, strange meetings at odd hours, calls to untraceable numbers. Grace knew what no one else wanted to admit: Luna wasn't just some lost girl. She was hiding something, and she might not be done yet. Meanwhile, Bill began to unravel further. He couldn't work, couldn't sleep, couldn't stop replaying Liam's final moments over and over in his mind. The voicemail Liam left, the one Bill had never listened to until it was too late, haunted him. It was short, confused, almost nonsensical. But Liam's voice was scared. He needed his father, and Bill hadn't been there. One night, alone in his office, Bill found Luna's necklace on the floor. The one she wore every day. The one he had given her. And with it, a sliver of paper folded small, a receipt from a motel outside of Bakersfield, dated to days after Liam's death. Why would Luna have that? And why had she hidden it? It hit him all at once. Luna hadn't just left, she had run. And that meant she had a reason. The question now wasn't just where she was, it was what she knew. And whether any of it was connected to Liam's final days. Because what if the tumor wasn't the whole story? What if someone had pushed him, misled him, drugged him, distracted him long enough to fall? What if someone wanted Liam out of the way? Bill rose from his chair, the pain of grief sharpening into something else: rage. He had failed Liam in life, but he would not fail him in death. Luna might have escaped the morning chaos, but Bill Spencer was no longer broken. He was awake, and he was coming for answers. Across the city, Grace and Bill were unknowingly aligned, hunting the same trail, asking the same questions, drawing closer and closer to the truth. And Luna, she was already deep underground, but not alone. Someone was helping her. Someone powerful. Someone with their own reasons for wanting Liam Spencer gone. The real story was just beginning.
Oh.